Good morning Year 4 and welcome to Wednesday's maths lesson. What I'd like you to do is to pause the video and have a go at the mental arithmetic questions. Welcome back Year 4. Here's the answers, so I'd like you to tick through please your answers. Now the method we've been doing is the idea of partitioning numbers. So thinking about splitting my number 512 up into 500 and 10 and 2. So 743. Subtract 500 is 543. Subtract the 10 is 533. Subtract the 2 is then 231. And if I use my inverse to add the two numbers together, I've got 512, add 200, 712, add my 30, 742, add the 1, 743. So I've managed to get my answer correct. Okay, a very, quick start today with us practicing our 8 times table, and that's going to be our focus for today. Now, if you are the Sapphire group, then what I would like you to do is to make a start. You're going to be working on the 4 times table today, and there are some sequences going up in 4s, and if you scroll to the very bottom, then there are some answers to that part of the challenge. For everybody else, we're going to be focusing on the 8 times table today. So, I'd like you to pause the video and set up your multiplicand board similar to how mine is on the screen. Welcome back, Year 4. 1 times 8 is 8. 10 times 8 is 80. And half of 80 is 40. Half of 10 is 5. 5 times 8 is 40. And this is our idea of what we call 1, 5, 10 derive. 3 facts that we generally know because we're good at our 5 and our 10 times table. We can use that to help us derive the other facts. So double 8 is 16. In other words, 8 more than 8 is 16. If I double 16, I get 32, and that gives me 4 times 8. 16 add 8 more is going to be 24. And I could double 24 to give me 6 times 8. So the answer there is going to be 48. I can also see that that is 8 more than 5 times 8. 11 times 8, well, hopefully we know the pattern with the 11 times table of 11 times 7, 77, 11 times 8, 88, 11 times 9 is 99. But it's also 8 more than 10 times 8. 9 times 8 is going to be 8 less than 80. So we've got the answer 72. And if I'm going to be doing 12 times 8, I could think about 10 times 8 is 80, 2 times 8 is 16, add them together, and I get the answer 96. And some of the ones we sometimes find a bit more tricky. However, this is always a nice one to remember. There's the rhyme. I ate and I ate and I was sick on the floor. 8 times 8 is 64. I'm left with 7 times 8, and 7 times 8 is going to be 8 more than 6 times 8. The answer is 56. Or it's going to be 16 more than 5 times 8, which is 40. 40 add 16 gives me my 7 times 8. We're going to be using this multiplicand board today, so please keep hold of it. Now, I'd like you to pause the video and I'd like you to write me a fact family for 2 lots of 8. Welcome back, Year 4. So if I'm doing 2 times 8, let's maybe use a different colour so it stands out. If I'm doing 2 lots of 8 and I can see that on my array, then we know that double 8 or 2 times 8 is 16. We know that 2 times 8 is commutative, which means that I can do the multiplication in any order, so I can reverse my digits. So 8 times 2 is also 16. If I now take my total, I can work using the inverse, divide that by 8, and the answer is 2. And using the inverse, I can divide 16 by 2, and the answer is 8. So there I've got my fact family. I hope you were successful with that. So today we're going to be using our division facts for the 8 times table. We're going to be solving some problems, and for some of us we're also going to be partitioning multiples of 8 in order to help us solve problems. So let's have a look at today's problem. You'll notice it's very similar to yesterday's, but today there are 8 sweets in a packet as opposed to 7. So Billy has got 64 sweets. There's 8 sweets in a pack. How many packets does he have? First of all then, I need to make sure I know my number sentence. What operation am I doing? What am I actually completing mathematically to solve this problem? Well, my number sentence is 64 shared or divided into groups of 8, or into packets of 8 in this situation. Now, already, lots of us know the rhyme. I ate and I ate, and I was sick on the floor. 8 times 8 is 64. So I know here then that my answer is going to be 8. Let's just have a look at what this looks like visually to help those of us that aren't quite as confident with our times tables. I could count up on a number line. We can see each time I'm counting 8. And I can see that actually I've got 8 jumps here. If I count in 8s, then to get to 64, I've got 8 lots of 8. So my total was 64. And just to see what that looks like on an array, this is what 8 times 8 looks like. So we'd already worked out that my answer was 8. So if you're not so confident with your 8 times table, then you need to start, please, the bronze challenge now. And you can practice using the grid first of all, colouring the multiples of 8, and then working through these problems before solving some problems underneath. And you might want to have a go at silver A as well. For those of us who are going to be attempting silver and gold challenges, we need to be thinking similar to yesterday about chunking in multiples of 8. So I know that 12 times 8 is 96. 136 is greater than 12 times 8. Therefore, I'm thinking, is it 13 lots of 8? Is it 14 lots of 8? Is it 15 lots of 8? Well, in order to help me solve that, I can chunk this 136. So first of all, I'm going to do 80 divided by 8. Then to go from 80 to 136, I've got 56 left, 56 sweets left if you like. How many 8s make 56? You can use your multiplicand board to help you, and I can see that it's the 7th multiple. So how many 8s can I count up to get to 136? Is 17. If you want to, have a go at actually counting in 8s. Count 17 lots of 8 and you should find you get to 136. Now, this was also something we looked at yesterday, which was the idea of how many left over. In other words, there's going to be a remainder. So although I'm going to be chunking this amount of sweets, I'm going to find that I've got some sweets left over. 8 isn't going to divide equally. But first of all, let's actually chunk that number. So in terms of my number sentence, I've got 109. And I'm going to be dividing by 8. Okay, I know on the problem before I didn't write that down, but I felt we'd done enough talking about it. But just a reminder, obviously, we were doing 136 and we were dividing by 8 there as well. Okay, which gave us our answer 17. So I'm going to start with 80 then, divided by 8. And obviously the answer is a very simple 10. 10 times 8 is 80. So how much from 80 up to 109? Well, to get from 80 to 100 is 20. Add 9 more, then it's going to be 29. Now I know that 29 is not a multiple of 8. Let's just go back to our previous screen a minute. I've got 8, 16, 24, 32. So I can't go as high as 32. So I'm going to go to my third multiple of 8, which is 24. So 3 8s are 24. But how much have I got left over then? So from 24 up to 29 is 5. So I'm left with 5 sweets left over. So my total then of full packets is 13. So this answers this question here. I've got 13 full packets. But how many are actually left over? And that is this answer here. Actually had 5 left over. Okay. So I'm going to put that answer in just here. So my number sentence was 109 divided by 8 is 13 remainder 5. But I have to be really specific in making sure that I answer the 2 parts to the problem. 13 full packets, 5 left over. Now, I wonder how good your memory is from yesterday. If I've got 1,440 sweets and I am sharing them into 80 sweets per box, then this is my number sentence. But some of us aren't so confident at counting in 80s. What we said yesterday is if we make each side 10 times smaller, so this would become 144, this would become 8 instead of 80, I would actually get the same answer. Okay, the difference between 1,440 and 80 is the same difference as 144 divided by 8. So I can now solve this problem to give me my answer here. So I'd like you now to start your problems, please. Similar to yesterday, when you do the gold challenge, D can be quite tricky. So again, I have included the answers to that for you. And a reminder, similar to yesterday, I'd like you to check your answers using a calculator. Because they're straightforward division calculations, you can use your calculator to check the answer. But also a reminder that when you do task B on gold, that you will have remainders. Therefore, you need to use a calculator that's going to show remainders, because normally the remainder will be shown as a decimal, okay, which doesn't always, it can be tricky to work out. Does that mean remainder 1? Does it mean remainder 2? Does it mean 3 left over, 4 left over? Okay, the decimal doesn't always isn't always simple to understand. So you can use this same link as yesterday just here. So we showed you this website yesterday that, as well as being able to calculate the answers, it actually provides remainders. So we know that 40 divided by 8 is 5. And if I was to change that to say 42 divided by 8, then we should be able to figure out it's still going to be 5 with 2 left over. And I can see that on my array underneath. As we said yesterday, we don't need to be worrying about necessarily this long division and any of the extra features that are written at the side here. Just purely using the division calculator, but seeing it as an array is useful. So good luck with today's maths, year 4.